Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. I've been assured by many people that Flesh and Blood is dead. It's all over. It's teetering on the brink. Nobody plays it. It's all investors speculating. On and on and on and on and on. As I always say, what if we have some data? What if we can just go get some data and look at it and try to understand what's going on? Maybe have a little better idea than just rank speculation. So that's what I've done. I've gone over to TCG Player and I've pulled all the sales data for all the Flesh and Blood expansions for the first 3 months of 2022. So I'm filming this April 9th, and so I have all of the data for January, February, and March of 2022. I'm going to start updating this every month and just doing an add-on video sometime around the first week of every month of what the previous month's additional data look like. So what I've done is constructed this where I can just come through every month and paste in the new data for each set and then pull it into the summary tab. And what do we have? So we have all of our expansions here, and whether it's first edition or unlimited. And so the first thing is I am not interested in Welcome to Rathe, Arcane Rising, or Crucible of War first edition boxes. They are too expensive and the volume is too low for it to really affect anything. The question of whether or not people play this game and how popular it is does not hinge on the sales of those three boxes. So that's why I only have the unlimited version boxes of those three expansions. Now, when we get to Monarch, the price of Monarch first edition, it's about $170 today. Monarch Unlimited is about $65 or so, and everything else is about $80 or less. So it's all very reasonably priced in the realm of TCG booster boxes. And so we can just go into this table and you can come across for any of the 3 months of data we've collected so far and any of these products and see what the sales of that product within that month were. And then also I've totaled up all time for each of the products. That's this row. And then total boxes for each month. That's this column. And then all boxes for all products the whole time we've been counting, 9,090 boxes. So, there's a lot of caveats on this kind of analysis because we're only taking data from TCG Player. And man, eBay is hard to extract data from. It's possible. I'm sure some people have built automated tools for that in the past, but I'm not going to recreate that effort here. And we miss things like Channel Fireball, Card Kingdom. You remember them? We miss sales that are outside of America. At least, I don't think TCG Player covers Canada and Mexico. I could be wrong about that, but I don't recall ever being offered dealers shipping me things from Canada. We also don't touch any sales that are in local game stores, and that's going to be a lot. So what we're getting is a very zoomed in set of data that is not representative of the whole without a lot of assumptions added to it. So you have to keep that in mind. The quality of the conclusions you can draw is proportional to the quality of the data that you have. But what are some conclusions we might draw? So some really interesting things is these total box sales numbers. Arcane Rising here, with the exception of Everfest First Edition, Arcane Rising is the highest. Now, if you go and you add together Tales of Aria First Edition and Unlimited, it comes out about 12% higher than Arcane Rising. But that is still really amazing for Arcane Rising Unlimited to have been the second expansion, and even in this time period, it's still so popular, so highly bought. And the same with Welcome to Rathe Unlimited. It's just surprising to see these numbers be so high. Some interesting things, these two numbers. Obviously, Monarch First Edition is, like I said, it's about $170. It's been in about the $150 to $160 range for most of maybe the last, 4 months. I don't know. And the Monarch Unlimited boxes are, about $65 over that same time period. And you can see that that's really affected it's driven the sales of the two products. Obviously, more people want to buy the cheaper product. They don't care about the cold foils. And so they're just looking to get the cards for the set, probably to play with and collect. If they were all just speculators, they would be doing what I'm doing and only buying first edition boxes for the cold foils they may contain. Now, I did buy some Monarch Unlimited boxes last summer after they first came out, like 3 cases, I think. But if you look at that same kind of thing for Tales of Aria, what you see when Tales of Aria first edition boxes are only about $80 or so, and the unlimited boxes are like 60 or 65, then a lot of people, in fact, at a ratio of 4-to-1, people are willing to pay that extra 20, 25 bucks to get the chance of the cold foils in the first edition Tales of Aria boxes. Now, I don't know that you can really draw any inference of whether that means more people are speculating, investing, collecting, playing, what superposition of the 3. It's hard to say. And, you have to be careful with these Everfest numbers, because in this time range of January to March, Everfest was the only expansion that was released. And so obviously its numbers are going to be wildly out of proportion. But for a game that some people claim is dead and that no one plays, it's interesting to me that 5,400 boxes of Everfest were sold in this time period out of a total of 9,100 boxes. So over half of all the boxes sold in this 3-month period was the newest release. That's a really good sign for the game. If it was all a bunch of speculators, they would all be piling their money back in here, every one of them. And to see this kind of huge uptake for the new expansion is really hopeful for the game going forward. So I went ahead and added this, excluding EverQuest. So I summed up, say, all of these other expansions for each month to see what it was without that kind of disruption from Everfest's release date being in February. And it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what to draw from it. 1,200, 1,400, and 1,000. You might think that's kind of level, or you might think that it's falling off a cliff. I don't know. It's going to be a little hard without several more months of data. Hopefully, if we do this for a couple of years, we'll start to be able to see things like a set's performance at the same point in its life cycle versus several previous sets. That's obviously what we would really like to be able to plot. So I plotted these up, and this chart here is box sales by release and month. So it's the same data that was in the table above. And I took unlimited sets and just made them dotted lines when there was an unlimited and a first edition of the same expansion. And so you can see that all of these data are just absolutely blown out by the Everfest release. So I plotted the same exact data here on the right, except I made the y-axis only go up to 500 boxes per month. So it's just a zoomed in version of this over here on the left. So the zoomed in version just shows you how each product is selling month to month. And then further down, I took the 7-day moving average prices of each product. Now, the left plot here is what I'm calling early unlimited releases. So just Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War Unlimited. And then on the right-hand side, I put what I just made up the name of, second generation releases. So Monarch, Tales of Aria, and Everfest. And eventually when we get the next product after Everfest, we might call that third generation, assuming that Legend Story Studios is going to continue to release 2 main expansions and then 1 smaller expansion. So the reason I did 7-day moving averages on all of these data is that if you just do every day by itself as its own lone data point, you can end up with big spikes in the data. So the longer moving average you take of a time series data like this, the more smoothed out it gets. Now, you lose some fidelity, yes, but you also prevent yourself from focusing on all the outliers of maybe one sale that was out of bed with the rest. And one additional problem with these data when you talk about sales prices is TCG Player gives you the box price that the thing was sold at. It does not tell you what the shipping cost was. And so a lot of dealers will sell things with free shipping, or really the shipping is included in the box price. But there are some dealers who will just put up one box for sale and say, instead of charging $90 for the box, they charge $70 for the box, and then they charge $20 shipping. So you pay the same $90, but the data that come out of TCG Player will say that it costs $70 and you have no insight to the fact that they paid $20 shipping on top of that. So that's why doing 7-day moving average kind of helps you smooth over those outlier data points a little bit. That's why I prefer it. Now I went ahead and set the y-axis on both of these plots to be the same, from $50 to $200, which currently covers all of these products that I'm looking at. And the one thing that I really see that's surprising here is there's not a lot of movement up or down. Everything is very flat. Everfest obviously moved down because originally in January, at the beginning of January, right about here, people were still paying pre-orders from it. The product did not actually release until right around here, and then the price came down. And that would have to do with people who were speculating, hoping they could flip it onto the market, stores who receive their final allocations and put it all up for sale, things like that. But outside of Everfest, there's not large magnitude movements up or down really anywhere, probably about $10 ranges on everything. And that kind of stability is interesting. I'm trying to figure out what it means. Does it mean that the amount of product being pushed on the market is perfectly balanced with the sales? It certainly doesn't mean that everything is stagnant, nothing's selling, and so the price stays the same, because we can look up here and we can just see how many boxes are selling of all these products each month. So it's interesting to me, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it. I would wonder if anybody watching this owns an LGS and carries Flesh and Blood. How's it going with the distributors? Are they getting restocks from Legend Story Studios? How's the supply of these products with your distributor? I would really wonder about that to give us some insight into this. And I know, like I said, going forward, we'll be able to draw better conclusions as time goes on, as we get more data, as more products are released. Just understand the limitations of these data, the limitation of the kind of conclusions we can draw from them. But to me, nothing here specifically says Flesh and Blood is dying, it's a dead game, it's going away, it's all a scam, it's all speculators just selling to each other, stuff like that. I don't see that here. It looks like it's a small game, like it has a 5 or 8 or 10% market share, like I always say. So if you have any other ideas, things I could add to this analysis, other plots maybe I could put up, other sources of data you know of that I'm not aware of, I would definitely be interested in that. Or any just comments or interesting theories you come up with, let me know. Really appreciate it. So if you like this kind of thing, kind of data-driven analysis instead of just emotionally screaming into a microphone and trying to sell outrage, then like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.